The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Texas. Welcome to the Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We've got two great shows today. We are going to be starting off with our show that has become one of our best shows across the country. Our expert is Dr. Eldred Taylor with Taylor Medical Group, and Dr. Taylor specializes in different areas of weight loss. He was very well known as a doctor in the Atlanta area in OBGYN, and he made some incredible discoveries when it comes to weight loss. So he will be joining us, just about any minute now, and we are going to be talking about peptides today. What's so great about Dr. Taylor is, first of all, he went to one of the finest medical schools in the country, and I've got to, excuse me 1 second, because I didn't know if Dr. Taylor was going to make it on the show today. And I have got to give him the link. So, Rebel, can we play our introduction again? That will give me enough time to send him the link again, because I didn't know if he was going to be able to make it today. Can we do that?
Sure, here we go.
Okay.
The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
And we're back. Actually, I just wanted to hear our intro again. We're trying to get Dr. Taylor on today. It's been a crazy day down here in Florida. Really bad weather. I hope it doesn't interrupt our show. And then coming back to the studio, traffic was crazy. I pulled up 10 minutes before the show. How we've gotten this put together, I don't know. We're going to wait and see a few minutes if Dr. Taylor comes on. I just sent him the link. If not, he will be back with us next week. In the second half hour of our show, we're going to be talking about Medicare, open enrollment. We see all these ads now for Medicare, and they're giving you this is free and this is free, and they're calling you up trying to pull you away from whatever Medicare insurance company that you're with, which I don't see how that's ethical or not. But anyway, we got two fabulous women who that's all they do mainly is Medicare. They're going to be with us in the second half hour of the show. I'm trying to give Dr. Taylor a little bit more time about coming on. Is he with us?
Yes.
Okay, bring Dr. Taylor on.
Hello.
Hey, Dr. Taylor, you know what? If you only knew what was going on. We're getting, first of all, really bad weather here. I don't know if you're getting it there or not. And then traffic was crazy, but we've got you though here.
Yeah.
And
you were scaring me. You were talking about Medicare. I'm like, I have no idea about Medicare. Like I have signed up for the wrong show.
We have our Medicare gals coming on the second half of the show. And Dr. Taylor will be back with us again next week because we're not getting as much time as we normally do. Dr. Taylor, first of all, how are you? How was your vacation?
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, we spent a week down in Cancun and relaxed a little bit. So, yeah, it was great. It's always difficult coming back because, you're always behind because you missed a week, but it was fine.
Wonderful. I got to tell you, you've been with us for well over a year now. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, and I know you do a lot of speaking engagements, but we are getting emails from listeners telling us how much they enjoy the way you explain everything.
Okay.
And so the good Lord has just given you something special besides just knowledge. It's also the way you communicate with people.
Well,
I think that's probably one of the reasons why you're so successful.
Yeah. Well, I give credit to my father. He was a Baptist minister. So, he knew how to try and deliver a persuasive message. So I think osmosis, I learned some techniques from him that I didn't realize I had learned. So maybe that's a little bit, a part of it.
Well, I just wanted to tell you because people appreciate you coming on, and you could probably talk a bit about something that's so boring, which you don't, and still make it interesting.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, we are getting so many people asking about this new injection that's out. Well, there's several different ones. Mm-hmm. But and I know you use some of them in your practice. First of all, people want to know how safe they are.
Okay. So, I think what, we decided to talk about today was peptides. And peptides are just a chain of amino acids. And amino acids are what make up proteins. But peptides are these small chains of amino acids. They're anywhere from 2 to 50 amino acids. And they can regulate hormones. They can activate DNA or suppress DNA. They can stimulate tissue growth. So they're very effective. They're pretty much safe. We can talk about some of the things you have to worry about. But a lot of these peptides were researched over in Russia and 20, 30 years ago, and only recently have we started using them in the US. But I think the one thing that you're talking about is semaglutide, which is like Ozempic, and it's actually a peptide. It's called a glucagon-like peptide, GLP-1. So that's a chain of amino acids that helps with weight loss, helps with glucose control. decreasing hemoglobin A1C. So that is a example of a peptide. And because
What is the
peptides are
delivery?
amino acids,
Dr. Taylor,
the
what's the delivery system?
well, it's sub-Q. So that means you give yourself a little injection with a small little insulin needle. But there's also Rybelsus, which is an oral form of it. I've seen that they've started having some nasal sprays. But right now, the most popular is a sub-Q injection once a week. The oral form you have to take every day, and I'm not sure how often you have to take the nasal spray. I think that's once a day too. So the once a week makes it very convenient and makes it more likely that the patient is going to be compliant.
Well, a lot of people want to know about any side effects at all.
Well, because the peptide, what it does is slows down gut emptying or stomach emptying. So when you eat something, normally your stomach processes it and send it down to your intestines. Well, it slows down that emptying process, so you feel full a lot more quickly. It also drives glucose into the cell because hemoglobin A1C, that's a pre-diabetic lab that we get. When that's elevated, it's saying that there's a lot of glucose in the bloodstream, and that extra glucose causes insulin insensitivity, and it also can be converted into fat. So when you drive glucose into the cell, you drive hemoglobin A1C down, you decrease your risk of diabetes, and now that glucose can be used for energy. So even though you may eat less, it doesn't cause fatigue or malnutrition because actually you're using the glucose more effectively.
Dr. Taylor, I'm curious to know, I probably should know the answer to this, but here's peptides.
Right.
And it helps with weight loss. And when you've gained extra pounds, it can lead to a lot of health issues. I'm finding that out now myself. Why doesn't insurance companies cover things like peptides?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I don't know why. The insurance.
Something that could save them money in the long run.
I know. It's just like functional medicine. I'm trying to prevent chronic disease that costs a lot of money when patients are in and out of the hospital, but they don't want to pay for it. They want to pay for sickness. They don't want to pay for someone trying to get healthy or more healthy. And that's just the way our system is structured. They don't want to pay for anything unless you can prove that you are sick. It doesn't matter that, it took you 10 years to get to that point and you've, like you said, been in and out of the hospital or whatever, but they don't want to pay for anything that's preventive, which is relatively inexpensive when you consider an emergency room visit or an intensive care unit visit, which costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, the Ozempic, if you get it from a pharmacy now, it is expensive. It's $1,000 a month. And so insurance companies, they balk at paying that. But you can also get it from compounding pharmacies at a cheaper price. So different, in different cities, it can be available at different times. But it is expensive, but really is less expensive than what can happen, and you're talking about, someone being sick for 10, 15, 20 years of their life. It's still less expensive. And then I've seen with using the semaglutide is that after they've been on it for 6 months, 8 months, 10, 12 months, you can actually wean them off of it. And they don't gain a lot of the weight back because they have been kind of trained into how to eat. They lose their appetite for sweets and, bad food. Somehow it does something to the brain and your cravings so that you don't have the cravings that you used to have, even after the drug has been either decreased. And sometimes in our patients, we'll either put them on a lower dose and tell them to stretch it out instead of doing every week, do it every other week, or they'll take the highest dose. And sometimes 4 injections will last them 3-4 months. And then some people they stop. and they start going to the gym. And a lot of times when someone loses 30, 40, 50 pounds, they're more motivated to keep the weight off. So now they continue to change their diet. They're more likely to go exercise because they're not embarrassed to go to the gym. They can do more because they're not carrying around another, extra 40 or 50 pounds. So we've seen that once they lose the weight, they really become motivated and determined not to gain that weight back.
Dr. Taylor, I got a question. I can't believe we have not discussed since we've talked about stress.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you deal with your patients? Because this is not an overnight. This is something that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And it works too. That's all I've heard. There are good things. It works.
Yeah.
But it does take time. How do you get your patients, to be patient?
Well, I'll tell you, it really hasn't been as hard as you think. So we start them off on a low dose, 0.25 milligrams, and we double that dose every month for the first 5 months. And a lot of times, even on that lowest dose, people will notice that their appetite is suppressed, and they may lose 4 or 5 pounds the first month, even on the lowest dose. Now, I would say 50% of the people lose weight on the lowest dose, and then others don't. Others, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 increases. And the reason why you do that is because it does affect the gut and gut emptying. If you give them a too high a dose too quickly, the nausea and the diarrhea can really be debilitating. I mean, it can be to the point where you can't even, go out because you're so nauseated. So we have to balance out avoiding the side effects with the weight loss. And so that's why you gradually increase the dose. And some people can't even get to the highest dose, but they still can lose weight. So it really hasn't been a struggle, because usually that first month, either they will notice that their appetite is suppressed, and they may or may not lose weight, or they they'll lose weight, and they'll have both the appetite suppression and the loss of weight. Now, the other thing we do is something called a body composition or a bioimpedance analysis, and every month we bring them in and we just put 2 little electrodes on them, on their hands and feet, and it gives us their body composition, because we want to make sure that they're losing fat and not muscle and not just fluid. So it tells us exactly what they've lost. And sometimes it can help, because a patient may come in and say, "Doc, I only lost 1 pound this month," and I'll put them on the do the body composition, and they will have lost 4 pounds of fat and gained 3 pounds of muscle. So that's still a win. They lost fat and gained muscle. So, and when they lose 4 pounds of fat and they gain 3 pounds of muscle, they will notice that their clothes fit differently, because the 3 or 4 pounds of fat takes up more space than 3 or 4 pounds of muscle. So muscle is more dense and fat is real fluffy and soft. So 4 pounds of fat may look like this, and 3 pounds of muscle may look like this. So they'll notice that, hey, I'm down a notch on my belt, or I went from a size 12 dress to a size 10, but the scale only says 1 pound. So all of that helps to motivate the patient. And if we do see that they're losing muscle, we'll ask them to increase their protein. We'll tell them, you need to do some kind of weight-bearing exercise, because losing muscle only slows down the weight loss process. So I think the accountability that they have to come in once a month, I think the convenience of only doing something once a week that they can do at home, all of that helps. So patience hasn't been a problem. And we usually sell it in a 6-month program, and most people will lose about 5 pounds a month. So that means in 6 months, my patients will have lost 30 pounds. So that's what we've seen, I would say 80% of the time. Now, does it work 100% of the time?
No.
Not necessarily. And I'll tell you another thing, especially in women, if their hormones aren't balanced, they're going to get slow weight loss. I'll give you an example of a lady I just saw.
Makes sense.
Yeah, she was seeing another doctor. She had been on the semaglutide for 2 months and only lost 2 pounds. Well, I think she's like 58 years old. she was having some hot flashes. Anyway, I knew her hormones were out of whack. So we tested her hormones. We corrected her hormone imbalance. Just saw her last month. She lost 11 pounds that month.
Wow.
And in the dose, well, we increased the dose like we're supposed to, but the first 2 months she only lost 2 pounds, and then this month she lost 11 because her hormones are balanced. So you also have to look for other contributing factors. You want to check their thyroid. You want to check, maybe vitamin D and things like that. But you definitely want to make sure their hormones are in balance because it's not a cheap treatment, and you want them to get the maximum result. And checking a woman's hormones, if you have an idea that they may be out of balance, is going to be, very important when you start a therapy like this.
Can you lose too much weight too fast?
Well, like I said, usually on this, I haven't seen it. Now, like I said, she lost 11 pounds and she was telling me how great she feels.
Yeah.
She feels great. So I haven't seen this. I know there's some diets that can happen, but I really think that's a problem if you don't check to see what are they losing. If somebody loses 11 pounds of muscle, that is awful. Yeah, that you don't want that to happen. So that's why we're very diligent about doing this body composition, because if we see that they're losing a pound or two of muscle, we're going to, try and implement some changes right away. So when you say, can you lose too much weight too fast? Yes, you can lose too much muscle too fast, but fat, I don't think so, because your body is actually trying to use that fat for energy, but you really don't want want muscle to be being used for energy.
I got to tell you, a lot of the letters we're getting, and now that you've explained, because people have said they've heard some really great things about the injections.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really some very successful weight loss, but they've read some of the articles about always being nauseated. And I think it sounds like to me, and I've read a lot of the literature you've sent, is that people don't always chew their food right, eat the right kind of foods, or eat too fast, that's causing some of this nausea. You think that's the reason?
Yeah. So it's two things. One, don't go up on the dose too quickly. Let them level out. The other thing that I always tell patients, I said, look, when you first start this, you're going to go and cook your meal and you're going to fill your plate and you're going to eat 2 or 3 bites and you're going to start feeling full. And you're going to say, that can't be right. I got this whole plate of food. I don't want to waste it. And you end up eating more. Okay. So I tell them that first sign that you feel full, you need to stop. Now you can go watch TV or wash the dishes and come back an hour later and you can probably take 3 or 4 more bites. But because the stomach is not emptying as quickly, it's trying to tell you, hey, don't put anything else in here. You're full. I know your plate is still, 3/4 full and you only ate 1/4 of your food. But that's how I try and prevent them from having that nausea, because they're used to their stomach emptying at a certain rate and it's not doing that now. So I tell them, really be mindful. When you feel that first full feeling, stop. Go do something else. Wait till that passes. It may take an hour. It may take 2 hours. And then you go back, you can eat a little bit more, but you're going to find that you probably can only eat half of what you used to eat, and it may take you 3 times as long to eat it.
Dr. Taylor, time always goes by so fast. Give everybody how they can reach you. It does not matter what city you're in. Okay. Yeah. Dr. Taylor can do this through telemed, and it'll be just as effective. Tell them how they can reach you.
Yeah. Well, the best way is through my website, taylormedicalgroup.net. taylormedicalgroup.net. You can also give us a call. It's at 678-443-4000. But the website, you can book appointments. There's a lot of information on the website. So that's really the best way to find us. And again, we can see you if you're in another area. But even if you want to use our website as an educational tool, you can pretty much search for any type of subject in functional medicine, and you'll find articles and information about it.
I'm gonna tell you something. We're getting a lot of people wanting your recipes. We might have to share some of your plant-based recipes.
Yeah. Well, I've got a garden now, and I got cucumbers coming out the wazoo. So I just made a cucumber salad, and I got eggplants, and I've got strawberries and peppers, and so yeah, man, I'm going organic all the way.
And we got to get your daughter on to show one of her. Anyway, good seeing you, Dr. Taylor. You're going to be back again next week with us. Okay. We will see you then. I'll send you something tonight.
Okay. All right. Great. All right.
Thanks, nice Dr. Taylor.
Nice to see you. All right. Bye-bye.
That's Dr. Elder Taylor. He's a functional medicine MD, went to Emory, one of the finest schools, medical schools there are. And we're going to go to a break. We come back. We got the girls with us, the Medicare girls. We'll be right back.
The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Dallas. Welcome to another Ask the Experts. We have got the famous Medicare gals with us for the second part of the show. I am so happy that we have them. I have been inundated. They don't even know this yet. I've been giving out their phone number. We have been inundated by ads for Medicare that have been going out, and it's been insane, and I cannot wait to hear what the ladies have to say. So let me introduce you to, I believe Sharon and Lynn are here now. I see there they are. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Steve,
Good.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Do you have your volume up? Lynn, can you hear okay?
I can.
Okay, I hear both of you. Let's see. Try again. Nothing, Sharon? Oh, she can't not hear me. Okay, we got to get her to turn her volume up.
Maybe she doesn't have her speakers set correctly.
Yes. Can you? It's okay. She's getting frustrated. Let me see. I want to tell her it'll be okay. Well, hi, Lynn. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm great. Let me, first of all, this is the Medicare gals. Lynn, I don't know what is going on out there. I am inundated. I mean, okay, let's see if we got Sharon back. Can you hear us? Sharon? She still can't hear us. Her volume's down is what it is. Maybe, let me see if we can write it on here. She can see it. Let me see. Turn her volume. Hey, folks, this is live radio, you know. Okay. So, Lynn, I'm getting these ads. I bet I get 4 or 5 ads a day telling me how I can get more money from my Medicare, how I can get my groceries paid from my Medicare. I mean, and you know, and they hide it too. They don't say, we're with another company. They said, you need to add this to what you already have, which is really not true. They want you to go with their company. Is it like this in Texas?
Oh, yes. I believe it's everywhere, Steve. What these commercials are referring to in general are Medicare, Medicaid beneficiaries, or people that qualify for low income subsidies. So those types of plans you have to qualify for based on your income and your assets and so forth. And those commercials may lead you to believe that you qualify for those benefits, but unless you are in one of those programs, you don't. So sometimes they can be obviously misleading, and people will call in and may get accidentally switched to a plan that might not be in their best interest. So, it's always important.
Well, they're enticing. I just didn't know if they were true or not.
Well, those plans do offer some great benefits, and some of those benefits are available to everyone if you're on Medicare. But there are plans that are just for people that meet certain criteria to get those types of plans. So that's probably a whole other show to go into.
Yes,
all of that.
I've got so many, but I just am shocked how many emails we've gotten, and we just always give them your phone number. Let's first of all, speaking of phone number, what is your phone number? How do people reach you?
I can be reached at 214-762-4247, but probably the easiest way to reach Sharon or me is to go to our website, which is yourmedicaregals.com. And you can find all of our contact information there. You can send us an email. There are links to ask for information or to send a request for a consultation. So, and I know people are driving and may not be able to write down phone numbers. So just go to our website, yourmedicaregals.com, and all of our information is there.
Okay, I'm going to put it up on the. Okay. I've got so many questions for you, but first of all, tell people about your company.
Sure. So Sharon and I are independent Medicare insurance advisors, or insurance advisors, because we don't do just Medicare insurance. We do under 65 and small group and other types of insurance. But in general, we specialize in health and Medicare insurance plans. So Sharon and I have known each other for years. Both of us have a financial services background, and we felt like there was a shortage of agents that specialized in Medicare and health insurance. So, because so many people really need help in this area, and there's a shortage of agents like us, we decided to focus on that. We're both independent. We market together our brand, Your Medicare Gals, but we each have our own practices and our own clients. So, but we do occasionally do seminars and events together as Your Medicare Gals.
Lynn, I swear I feel like an idiot until I really started getting into this. And it was not educating myself. We all just kind of take things for granted that people know. I mean, I missed a whole year because I didn't enroll at the right time because I didn't know when to enroll.
Well, Steve, we see a
And
lot of that. I mean, it's very
yes,
common. So don't don't punish yourself, because a lot of people go through the same thing. It's very confusing, especially if someone is still working, because if you don't excuse me, if you don't sign up for Social Security at age 65, you do have to proactively enroll in Medicare at age 65. Now, there's, I don't want to say that, because not everybody, will enroll in Medicare at 65. There's a whole lot of different ways to enroll and times to enroll and things that affect when you might enroll. But in general, you're eligible for Medicare at age 65. Some people are eligible for Medicare earlier if they are on disability. So there's certain ways to get it, but in general, most people turn 65 and they become eligible for Medicare. If they're still working and on a group plan, then they can enroll maybe in just Part A, which is your hospitalization. And for most people, Part A is no cost, because if you've worked in the US for 40 quarters, or you get Medicare as a result of spousal eligibility, then there's no cost to Part A. If you don't qualify, by those two ways, then you can pay a premium. We won't get into that because we're just talking mostly in general today. But so it makes sense to enroll in your Part A. But of course, there's always a gotcha with this. So if you are contributing to an HSA plan, then you need to be very careful about when you enroll in your Part A. I won't go into that in detail because it's very complicated, but just know that if you're still working and you are transitioning to Medicare at age 65, or you're retiring and you've contributed to an HSA, that you need the guidance of a professional or your CPA to make sure that you don't get stuck with any penalties. So,
yeah, I found out, Lynn, I found out from a friend basically saying, boy, I really love Medicare. And I'm going, why are you on Medicare? I mean, he explained to me, and I got to tell you, I'm just speaking for myself. There's a lot of people out there who will tell you they don't like their Medicare. I got to tell you, Lynn, I love Medicare. I think, boy, we had to wait a long time to get it, but I love Medicare. And, it's so nice knowing that you and Sharon are out there to explain this to people, because there are some complicated areas.
right. And Steve, I think it's really important to know a few things, and I'll just go over this, a little bit. But when you're enrolling in Medicare, sometimes people think that Medicare is free, and it's not.
But it's inexpensive, though.
It can be inexpensive, and it can be no cost for certain people that are very low income. But there is a premium with your Part B enrollment, as you know, and it's based on your household income. And there is also what's called IRMA charges. And I'll talk about this because higher income individuals, and these income levels and brackets are set each year by Medicare and Social Security. So it's going to be your Part B premium to Medicare is going to be based on household income. And so the standard for 2023 premium for Part B is $164.90 per month. But if you fall into a higher income threshold, then you're going to get what's called IRMA charges, and that stands for Income Related Monthly Assessment Amount. And those amounts are added to the $164.90 on your Part B and your Part D. So people don't realize it's also added to your Part D premium, which is your prescription drug coverage. And so when someone enrolls in Medicare, they'll get the letter, the benefit verification letter saying, oh, welcome to Medicare. Your Part A is this and your Part B is going to be $164.90. And you think, great, that's so affordable. But then later on, if you're a higher income individual, you get another letter and it says, oh, you're subject to IRMA charges, the dreaded IRMA. But it can go up, $500 a month for people in very high income brackets. But, so that's something to be aware of. And the other big thing that, as you know, is the enrollment windows. So there are specific times that you can enroll, and there's lots of them. I mean, there's the standard ones that most people fall into, but then there's very specialized little windows that, work for certain people. So there's a lot to know and there's a lot to be aware of. And, we want to make sure that our clients don't get a late enrollment penalty on their Part B or their Part D. We want to be sure they're aware of if they're going to have IRMA charges. Those, of course, are confirmed by Social Security. We can't tell people what their IRMA charges will be, but we let them know. We've got charts and information that we send people so they can get an idea of what those charges are. Hi, Sharon, can you hear us?
Sharon, can you hear us?
I can, but I don't know if it's the system. It's a bad echo. It's very spotty. You hear that?
Yes. Turn your volume down a little bit. Yes. Volume down. Okay. So I want to know also, explain the difference between PPO and HMO. Explain the difference between PPO.
Oops, there we go.
Okay. You have to close one of the things. Whatever one you can hear on, keep that one open. The other one you have to close.
Oh, yeah, you have to close one of your...
I can hear you. Now I'm up there twice. Huh?
Yes.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Coming from?
Turn one of them off. There we go.
There we go.
No, we still got the echo though. There we go. No, we still got this is the first I've seen this. But let's go to the HMO and the PPO.
Yeah, we're lagging here.
I've seen this.
Oh, well, I'll just talk a little bit about that until we get Sharon's audio going. But so when you're talking about HMOs and PPOs, you're really referring to, in the Medicare world, Advantage plans. Because if you're on original Medicare and you've added a Medicare supplement, also known as a Medigap plan, then you don't have any networks. You can go to any doctor, any provider, any hospital in the US that takes Medicare, and they will take your Medicare supplement or Medigap plan. But Medicare Advantage plans are structured differently. So they work as HMOs, PPOs. There's also plans called PFFSs. There are MSAs, medical savings accounts. But your question, really, HMOs and PPOs are the ones most people are are using. An HMO is more limited into the doctors that you can use. So, for example, you have to choose a primary care doctor. And if you want to see a specialist, you have to get referred from your primary care doctor.
Right.
And that specialist has to be in the network as well. So if you go outside of the network in a non-emergency situation, then your plan is not going to pay anything unless it's an emergency. With Medicare, it's always going to take care of you if you're traveling or it's an emergency, of course. But just for your general day-to-day care, an HMO, you will need to stay in the network. A PPO is a preferred provider organization, and you do not have to choose a primary care with your PPO. Now, you may want to, and some plans ask you to, but in general, you don't have to, and you can change it whenever you want. You can also go to the specialist you want. Now, people think that the costs are the same when you go out of network in a PPO, and they find out that they're not the same. So with a PPO, you're going to be allowed to go out of the network, but you're going to pay a higher price for that. So,
well, I had a lady who's on a PPO. She called me up a couple weeks ago, knowing about your show, and she said that when she's out of town, that she can go into any emergency room. But she said, my plan, I can't do that.
No, she's not right. So Medicare will always take care of you when it's an emergency.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. So now what they might do.
Do you get charged different?
No, it should. It's gonna the pricing is gonna be in network. So yes, if you're in an HMO and you're traveling in the country and you get in a car accident, they're just going to take you to the closest emergency room, most likely, and then you will be covered under your plan. Now, once you start getting better and you can change to an in-network facility, they're going to want you to do that. So, but they will treat you, and make sure you don't die if you're at an out-of-network hospital. So.
We started to show off. I was telling you, I felt kind of stupid. My Sophia's sister is getting ready to, and she's going to contact you, but she's the kind that has to research everything on her own. And she has literally spent hours researching Medicare. What's so good about both of you is you can make it a lot easier for her.
I know, Steve. You're so right. I had someone call me the other day, and they said that they have been researching for the last few months because they're turning 65 in 6 months. And I said, gosh, I wish you'd called me sooner because I could have saved you a lot of work, but people don't realize that, we're independent. So what we want to do is help the individual with their specific needs and what is the best plan for them. We show them a lot of different options. We're going to explain, how a Medicare supplement works, how a Medicare Advantage plan works. What are the differences? What are the pros and cons of that? What are the costs involved? Because they're structured differently. And, some people really want a Medicare supplement and some people really want a Medicare Advantage. And, Sharon and I both have clients in both of those plans. And we have clients in lots of different carriers because we represent dozens of carriers. So, it doesn't matter to us what plan our clients choose. We're just going to try to help find the best option for them. And then if they need to change it down the road, we can help them with that.
What's going on with pre-existing conditions? We used to hear about that all the time. I I never hear about it anymore. So if a person's a veteran and they have pre-existing conditions, are they taken care of?
Oh, absolutely. So, Medicare Advantage plans have plans that are designed specifically for veterans. So, a lot of veterans want to still get their medications at the VA. And that's fine. They can get their medication very inexpensively, and that works great for them. So some carriers have plans that don't include Part D. They're just the medical part of that. And no Advantage plan is going to ask you any medical questions. So there are no pre-existing condition limitations on Medicare Advantage plans. You just have to be in the correct enrollment window. So you can't just sign up any time of year. You have to be in an enrollment window.
I think so much of you and Sharon, and I want to find out because I want to do this. The way you talk and your knowledge of Medicare is so important because there is so much to know about Medicare. And I've been thinking about this the last several weeks. How do I know if I'm missing out on something or not? Can a person like myself who signed up with an agent long before they met you, can they leave that agent and come with you?
Well, yes, you certainly can. We don't try to steal other agents.
This is something, a personal thing that I'm going, God, there's so much to know. And am I really getting all the benefits? See, I trust you and Sharon to be able to find out what all my benefits are. I don't feel like I get that with the agent I'm with now.
Well,
and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like me.
Yeah, we would definitely help you. Sharon and I, we don't charge anything for our services. People think that, there's a fee to work with us, and there is not. We are paid directly by the carriers. We get commissions on when we enroll people in plans, and that's how we earn our income. But we will answer questions for people. Regardless, so you can always contact us if you decide you want to work with us. That's your decision. But absolutely, we're always available to help people.
How do you guide people towards making the best decisions on their Medicare plan?
Well, Steve, what we do is we meet with the individual one-on-one, and that can be in person, over the phone. We do Zoom calls if we're working with clients out of state. But what we need to do is get a picture of, what do they have now? What do they like about it? What don't they like about it? Are they aging into Medicare, or do they just want to see if there are other options? We get information about their preferred, providers, hospitals, their medications. And so we want to do a proper needs analysis and, ask questions and learn about the needs of that client. And then we usually will make recommendations and go from there.
Well, I got to tell you, we're going to replay today's show next week and tell people how they can reach you. I just looked at the clock.
Oh, sure. The best way is to go to our website, yourmedicaregals.com. All of our contact information is there. You can email us. You can call us. It's all there.
Well, I'm sorry we missed out with Sharon, but and we're going to rerun this show next week at 4:00 Dallas time. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, Steve. Great to see you.
Good seeing you.
Take care.
And we'll be back with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Our first show will be the Medicare gals from today. I'm sorry if you missed part of the show today, but we will replay it next week. Everybody have a wonderful week. God bless you. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.